Oh, hello. Welcome back, Spanian. An addendum of questions. Yeah, I can see you. Yeah, don't worry. I have the chat hidden because there was someone on Kick who was spamming obscenities, but I have YouTube chat opened up right here. But give me one moment to make sure everything is looking okay. Thank you for joining us. Social studies and philosophy. It kind of depends. But I'll answer your question earlier about determinism. I have found a very unique way to reconcile between determinism and free will. In my mind, I imagine determinism as being rooted in the past, but that free will is rooted in the future. I imagine that because you can't really change what happened in the past, it means that it was kind of always meant to happen. But because we don't really know the future, then we can use our free will to decide that future. At least that's how I like to reconcile between these two. But if anyone has any questions for me, feel free to let me know. I'm always listening, always watching, always waiting, blaming everything on someone else. Do you know why you do it, Pink? I know why you do it. I know why you like surrounding yourself with inferior gems. It's because you want to feel like the best of the worst. You became rose quartz to deceive your piece of shit friends. But now you've improved upon that because you were even deceiving yourself. Because don't you see, even though you've embedded yourself in that human child, your light can't help but shine through. You know you're in there, Pink. You've known it all along, and it's time to come out now. Nominal or platonic? Here, let me check the difference between those two. Nominalism denies the existence of universals. I don't know if I would deny the existence. I don't know if I deny the existence of universals, so I'm not sure that I would consider myself nominal. But let me read more of this. Motivation for this flows from several concerns, the first one being where they might exist. Plato famously held on one interpretation that there is a realm of abstract forms or universals apart from the physical world. But no, I don't. Oh, okay. I thought you were comparing two different things. No, I don't. I don't reject the concept of universals. I do think that there are some things that can be like universally agreed upon. I mean, there was someone in chat earlier. We were reacting to this shoe on head video where the normalization of murdering people seemed to have been promoted in like the context of like Charlie Kirk. And I'm pretty sure murdering people being bad is definitely something that can be considered like universal. So obviously, for something like that, I don't think I would reject the concept of universals. No, Spanian being given me the hard-hitting questions that even I don't necessarily know the answer to. Do I think as a mean or an end? Interesting. I mean, free speech is just when you say what you think, regardless of what other people have to say. I know that one of the things that people brought up as an argument for free speech is when someone says something that's objectively false, and so we call them out on it, or they say something that like a hot take, I guess, and then we call them out for such a take. But when it comes, like here in the US, when it comes to like the incitement of violence, as well as libel and slander, are things that are not protected by free speech. Like there are like free speech absolutists that believe that you should be allowed to say whatever you want, regardless of the legality. But a majority of people aren't necessarily absolutist in that regard, saying that, no, we don't accept, like, they don't accept violent rhetoric, wanting violence upon other people to be free speech. And they also don't consider, like, defamation and slander to be free speech either. So So I'm not sure how to answer whether or not it's a means to justify any end. I just know that a lot of people on the internet are very passionate about free speech, and I'm not particularly passionate about it, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to restrict people's right to do so. Although there was someone on Kick that was spamming some obscenities. Do I think democracy? Well, oh, that reminds me of this video. Here, this video. If you've seen this video before, I don't know if I'm allowed to really show this word on YouTube, but I'm gonna play it anyway. This isn't how I feel, but I do think that it's kind of funny.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
Now, this isn't necessarily what I think, but it does make you think, right? I just wanted to show you that. I know we're trying to do like serious. I know this is more of like a serious discussion, but I do want to have at least some fun on these streams. Apologies if that wasn't quite the answer that you were looking for, but I do think that, I think it is a good thing that the people should be able to decide how they want to live their lives and stuff. But at the same time, there are some people in this world that really don't know what they want, or the things that they want aren't necessarily what other people want. No, going back to Shoe on Head, you have all of the people like the people that support the murder of Charlie Kirk that also support all of that other stuff, even though a majority of people don't want anything to do with that. And no, this clip, so something like that. If you got other things that you wanted to talk about, it's like some people, a lot of people mean well when they want to like, when they advocate for certain things, but there are a lot of people within those advocacy groups that don't necessarily have their best interest at heart. It's like you have all of these activists that claim to speak on behalf of like someone like me who is gay. You have these like gay activists that might not necessarily even be gay. They might consider themselves a quote unquote ally, but then they end up doing and saying things that are absolutely ludicrous. And so they don't necessarily speak on behalf of me. And then there's also like when people are protecting like illegal immigrants from Latin America, as someone who is Latin American, those people don't speak on behalf of me either. I don't need them to speak on behalf of me, and I don't want them to call me a fucking Uncle Tom neither. No, I don't want to have to deal with that. They can... No, you don't... Yeah, oh yeah, last one. A new renaissance isn't coming? Oh, you don't even know the half of it, Spanian. Trust me when I say that I am going to bring about the Renaissance. No, it's been in the works for years. Like, that's the thing. Like, I know that Isaac Newton was into like the occult and stuff. So much so that he was also into biblical prophecies, who believed that the world as it is today, or at least the current age of this world, would end around 2070, with which it's not going to be the end of the world, but it's going to be the end of our current understanding of like society, that society will just be reborn after that year, so that it's something that so that like when it comes to like death and rebirth, like the quote, Master Xehanort in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, they say ruin brings about creation. So what then would another Keyblade War bring? Granted, that's not to say that I want World War III to happen, but if we all know like the story of Norse Ragnarok, where the final battle between like the gods and Loki and all that stuff, where after the war is over, the world ends up getting like remade into something better and brighter. I can imagine that kind of scenario happening. I mean, I'm pretty sure plenty of people don't want like a World War III scenario. It shouldn't have to happen. We should be able to have a renaissance that is independent of something like that. I do firmly believe honestly, that a new age for the world is on the horizon. And personally, I unironically want to be at the forefront. I want to be there to help usher in like a new age for this world. As as presumptuous and as conceited as that might sound, it's like I know that my mom in particular, often tells me, and this isn't me trying to boast about myself because I really don't like boasting about myself, but she always tells me that no one deserves me, that no one is ready for what I have to say, which obviously I don't really think that much about the things that my mom has said to me, but I wonder, honestly. And that's actually one of the reasons why I made this channel. One of the reasons that I'm having this made this YouTube channel, and I'm currently working to get my Kick channel verified. It's to be able to talk about these kinds of things, you know? I want to be there for people when they need it the most. I want to be there for, you know, when even in the darkest of times, there will always be some lights that'll attempt to shine through, and I'm sure my mom thinks of me as one of those lights. She thinks of me as a sort of conduit, so to speak, a spiritual conduit, as someone feeling the quote-unquote Messiah. Like, different religious traditions all have very similar, a very similar end times figure, right? There's, like, in Hinduism, there's the final avatar of Vishnu, known as Kalki. And in Buddhism, there's the Maitreya Buddha. And then Judaism obviously has the promised Messiah. Christianity has the second coming. Islam has a figure known as the Mahdi, along with the second coming, although it kind of depends. And they all seem to have this end times figure that comes in order to renew the world and redeem the world into something great. And I do want to be there if that ever happens. Granted, I know that you have all sorts of like end times preachers that'll say, oh, based on all of this complicated mathematics that we just did, the world is going to end on that day. But if there's one thing that I've learned, at least in my time studying different faiths and stuff, is that only the Lord knows when the end comes. Only He knows. Nobody else on Earth can claim to know. I mean, you could make predictions, but that doesn't necessarily mean you know. I mean, I mentioned Isaac Newton being fascinated with biblical prophecies, eschatology, and the occult, saying that the world as we understand it would, or at least the current age of the world, would end in 2070, which I've made a similar calculation on my own through some other things that I've looked into. I said 2071, a 1 year difference, but I don't know what that says about me and whether or not I have. I mean, once again, I don't like boasting about myself. I don't want to say that I know better than anyone. I don't really know any better than anyone else. I don't claim to know better than anyone else. And even though my mom holds me, and both of my parents hold me in very high regard as someone with a lot of like patience and persistence and a lot of just kindness and stuff, I have too much patience for my own good, honestly. The amount of patience that I was blessed with, well, it's both a blessing and a curse. They're like this VTuber model that I've been using. I've waited so long to be able to use it, but due to some circumstances that were out of my control and out of the control of the guy that made it, it took a lot longer than I expected. And honestly, the patience definitely paid off, and I couldn't be more grateful for that. I love this model. I really like it. It's very cute, and I'm so grateful that I even have it. And I'm so grateful that I'm even able to stream in the first place, to be able to talk to all of you about all of this stuff. And this is the kind of stuff that I've been meaning to talk about, even within like all of the recent stuff going on with like Charlie Kirk and the radicalization of politics. It's like there has to be at least someone has to be there in order to help bring people to their senses, to bring people back to reality, regardless of what side they belong to or what tradition or ideology, religion they identify with. Someone has to bring us together. I'm not saying that it has to be me. I don't really want to bear the burden of something like that, especially since I'm not particularly relevant in any way. So it's like the fact that you guys are even taking the time to notice me is more than I could ever ask for, in all honesty. And, you know, I guess this is the kind of stuff that I've been wanting to talk about, and I couldn't be more grateful. But yeah, when it comes to how I feel about like a new renaissance, I do firmly believe that in spite of everything that's been happening in the past decade, I firmly believe that it's all growing pains, you know? Jared Henderson, I thank you for your compliment, Spenny, and it really means a lot. Let me look up Jared Henderson. I feel like I should know who that is, but I don't really. Oh, maybe I should be. I feel like I've seen this guy a few times before. I think so. Plato's Republic. Everyone is cheating, even the professors. Oh no, I remember hearing about that. Right? People using AI. Once again, freaking AI. To do like helping them with, and it's unfortunate. No, I remember there's a content creator that I've been watching as if for the past like half a year called School Principal Reacts, who reacted to a Wired video or something like that, where there was a teacher that was talking about when people use ChatGPT. No, one of the things that teacher mentioned is that she uses ChatGPT in order to teach her students all of the mistakes that ChatGPT was using. And I just thought that was and then why we can't focus, amusing ourselves to death. No, I can relate to that. When I'm like endlessly scrolling through YouTube and I can't just find even just one thing to watch. My interests are so narrow and far between. And then there's the whole, I know about the American literacy crisis too, like, which is one of the reasons why the Department of Education is being reworked from the ground up. No, I think I have seen this guy pop up in my recommendations. Yeah, the internet keeps getting worse. Yep, yeah, pretty much. That's what's been happening with like Charlie Kirk. The universities are businesses. Maybe I should look into this. Elite college students who can't read books. Now, I do admit that like I kind of just don't like reading. It's not because I don't want to. 5th grade ruined reading for me, that's all I can say. Like, there were books that I wanted to read just on my own, but to have to read a book that you don't want to read just because it's part of the curriculum is something that ruined reading for me. And so thanks to that, language arts and English class ended up being my worst subject throughout all of school, especially with regards to reading. Like, I'm a better writer than I am a reader. I don't like, whenever we had to read a book for school, I don't like annotating. I don't like annotating books because I just don't feel like it. And I also don't like, I know that a lot of readers do annotate their books, like, especially if they have like book club or something like that. But my best subject was always math. So maybe I should take a look at him at some point. Maybe I could react to one of his videos on stream, but I thank you for those compliments, Spanian. It means a lot. No, regarding Renaissance. even in the darkest days that we're living in now, I still believe that we have a bright future ahead. It's just, yeah, never use ChatGPT to write essay. Oh, that's interesting. I know that there are a lot. I've seen a lot of videos pop up in my recommendations about teachers just quitting because they can't handle Gen Alpha. No, I remember watching a video of someone where there was a video short that was shared of a kid who was just yelling at the teacher and ended up fucking throwing a desk at the teacher, and I was like, what the fuck? What the hell who the hell is raising these kids? But of course, you can't do anything about it because then it's considered child abuse. It's like, no, and I remember also in that same video, there was also a clip of some girl who was causing a ruckus at like a Walmart, knocking stuff off of shelves, and then someone tried to stop the girl, to which some bystander was like, you need to get your hands off of her. You fucking, as if accusing whoever's trying to stop the girl of being an assaulter or whatever. And it's like, disciplining kids is not child abuse. It's good for them. No, if my parents ever caught me doing any of that shit, oh my god, no, I would never do something like that ever again. No, I'm so grateful that my parents raised me right. No, fuck that shit. I will, if I'm ever fortunate enough to get kids, I mean, I'm gay, so the best thing I could do is either surrogacy or adoption. If I ever do that, oh, hell no. The moment any of my kids do any of that shit, no. It'll be the last time they do it. And that's not a threat, it's discipline. You rack discipline, as the karate teacher or that one guy in South Park said. But no, who would have thought? No, we go from talking about, your message ended up getting auto-deleted, Spenny, and you said, I'm an extremely wise little, and I'm a sexy, oh lord. Goodbye, live long and prosper. Thank you, Spanny, and I might have to, yeah, unfortunately, Spanny, your message got auto-deleted by YouTube, but it popped up in the multi-chat. Thank you for your compliment, and although your remark on me being sexy, to each their own, I guess. I mean, yeah, my avatar is cute. I wouldn't mind giving it a little hug, but alright, if you're gonna take your little internet break, then I guess I'll see you when hopefully once I'm verified and I start making money. Alright. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and this video was streamed live on both YouTube and Kick. Be sure to check out the VODs for unedited footage as well. Take care.